Hey everybody, it's Galmadex, and welcome back to the Final Fantasy Collector Booster Arena Direct. This is our opportunity to potentially win a collector booster box of Final Fantasy, a physical one shipped directly to our door by playing Digital Magic on Arena. It's going to be 6-pack sealed, so 6 play booster packs of Final Fantasy, building a deck out of those cards and hoping that we opened better cards than our opponents and got pretty lucky. It's a very high variance event. You need to get 7 wins before 2 losses. You only have 1 single loss of breathing room, and again, you got to open a great sealed pool, you got to play really well, and you got to draw really well, and those are some high variance things. So fingers crossed here. This is going to be much less commentary than the pre-recorded Arena Direct run, as I am trying to focus up. This is an incredibly high stakes event. Those collector boxes are quite expensive, so it's going to be for a little bit more high level players. I'm certainly not going to explain absolutely everything I'm doing, especially when we get into the gameplay. I'm going to try to stay locked in. The sealed pool's pretty mediocre. Balthier and Fran are basically useless. I've opened a lot of sealed pools with no vehicles in them. Hope also really not a thing you want to do. There's a lot of decks that benefit from getting milled. There's like flashback cards and graveyard recursion, so Hope's not good. Minwu is pretty awful. 5 mana for the 3/3 body is super weak to removal, so even if you do have a lot of clerics, it's very inconsistent, and there aren't a ton in the format. The best you could hope for is maybe having a couple of the cleric staff at 2 mana, so Minwu's really bad. Wandering Minstrel is usually unplayable. You can rarely do a 5-color sealed deck, and you need 5 or more towns on board for this to do anything otherwise. Also incredibly unlikely in a 6-pack sealed. Even Midgar's very weak. You rarely, if ever, cast Reactor Raid, but this is still going to get played over a swamp if we play black, because there are times every now and then you might be playing against blue. They might have pacified one of your creatures with a blue tap removal spell, so then you get to sack it, draw a card if you top deck this late, but really irrelevant. So it leaves us with 2 playable rares, both of which are pretty medium. Choco is pretty solid once you get it on the board, drawing a card every time it attacks. The problem is that it's a really restrictive mana cost for not that high of a payout. You're getting something among the quality of most monocolored rares at that point, so really difficult to get the mana going for that card, and even when you do get there, it's just solid. And Ultima is mostly just a 4/4 flyer for 5, which is good in this set. Flyers are good, but this sealed pool is not. Let's see what we've got out of commons and uncommons here. We have we have 2 Blitzballs. I was going to say no colorless fixing. There's Blitzball hiding in the corner. 2 copies of Blitzball if we want to be fixing around, which will be definitely necessary for Choco if we go in that direction. Nothing else that interesting in colorless. Maybe a Monk's Fist if we have cards that care about equipment or hero tokens or artifacts. Got Omega if I go green-blue ramp alongside the Choco. That's reasonable. Garnet if we go green, white, and blue. Zidane here in Boros. There's that Balthier and Fran and Gruul. Shinra and black-white, just 1 copy. Nothing all that interesting there. And here's where Balthier and Fran are hilarious, because look what happens when I search vehicle. There are 2 vehicles in the whole sealed pool, one of which is blue, which is not really going to happen alongside Balthier and Fran, so just a complete mulligan on that rare. Well, I guess with a mulligan, you would draw a different one. Let's check out our white here. I'm not playing Minwu, Cloudbound Moogle most likely. Decent removal between Auracite and Fate of the Suncrest. We've got a really good delivery Moogle here. We can search for Dragoon's Lance, but if we drew the Lance before the Moogle, we have a backup as well to hit an infantry. Although if I drew an infantry, tutored out the other, and then also drew a Lance, then Moogle will not find something off of white alone, so if we have a secondary color with cheap artifacts, that'd be good. This looks pretty decent here. The Auracite and the Fate for removal. Crystal's Chosen's a little better when you have an Auracite to help ramp into it. We've got nice cheap creatures to get aggressive, especially when you consider these as creatures on the mana curve. This is a really nice aggressive mana curve. Moving on to blue. This would top off that mana curve, which is decent. No other 2 mana artifacts, sadly, for that Moogle. I'm not a big fan of the Turret or the Merchant. They're incredibly filler. Shiva's quite nice. I would try to never run the Prima Vista. So we've got a big draw spell, Aquistus for flashback, a couple okay removal spells and counter spells here. Blue is pretty average. It's not terrible. It's not incredible. Average looking color here. Certainly like the white better. In black, we have Cornered by Black Mages, Battle at the Bridge, Gaius, and side quests. Good chunk of black removal. And some of the good sacrifice cards that would work well with white, like the Salvagers and then the Gaius at 4. Black-white aggro could be reasonable. We also have the Shinra, which works really good with Gaius, the Rufus Shinra. Would be pretty cool. Yeah, black-white could be a thing. This looks pretty nice. What else do we have, though? We want to check out all the colors. Red. Rapier's really bad. Shopkeep is quite mediocre, but we have somewhat of a Boros deck. I only have 2 removal spells. They're both really expensive. Light of Judgment is really expensive and doesn't pay you off that much for spending 5 on it. Choco Comet is really expensive, but also really good. You can shoot your opponent with the face, or in the face, and you can also get a creature and removal out of this, which is good. But the creatures are real filler. Bomb, Sabotender's Elder. Like, there is an okay Boros equipment deck here, but I think the Orzhov deck is just better. And checking out green. Green looks real bad. There's 2 ramp cards towards a diamond weapon, which is cool if we had, like, self-mill stuff as well towards this, but we have, like, no self-mill. There's no town greeters. There's no, none of the Shinra cards that mill yourself either. Yeah, we have none of the green-black synergy, none of the green-black uncommons. So green is just like a couple decent big cards to ramp into and a tiny bit of ramp for it, but that's all. Not a great color. I mean, there's 1 removal spell, but there's more in our other colors. So if we do go black-white with Rufus Shinra here, there's not much to really splash in that looks all that powerful. I could blitzball into like a Zidane as a potential finisher. That'd be kind of fun. I don't have a lot of ways to sacrifice opposing creatures, though, to make Zidane really good. I just kind of have the 1 Gaius. Other than that, we're just kind of draining them for life when anybody's dying. Which is cute. Yeah, let's just go nice, streamlined Orzhov. No splash, no blitz balls. At that point, we get a Midgar. That is one way to sack an opposing threat, and a good way to sacrifice Dark Star with Rufus. What else do we have for duels? No black-white duel. None of the Crossroads is a bummer as well. Oh wait, no, we had 2 black-white duels. That's awesome. Never mind. They're just already in there automatically. Yeah, just no Crossroads. Okay, sure. Mana's still really good here, though. I'm not going to cut any lands because I've got this great 7 drop and a lot of 5s. Although, actually, I'm cutting Minwu and Cloudbound Moogle. That lowers the 5s a little bit. Still don't think I'm cutting lands, though. Trader goes up in value when you have the side quest. Probably don't want multiple fight on because they're really bad in multiples. I'm a huge fan of Limit Break or Poison the Waters, but might put 1 back in because we don't have a lot of non-creature cards in here in the first place. Potential cuts there, and then probably some mid 2 drops. Monk's Fist, Coral, Castle Guard of the Rat, and stuff like that. Got a lot of non-creature creatures, a lot of these equipment that come with a token, which makes fight on worse. There's also no self-mill in the deck, so if we just end up trading off a lot of tokens, our graveyard will not be full for fight on for quite a while. I think I'm cutting both of those for sure. Also makes Vincent's Limit Break a lot worse. Cut that. Poison the Waters is the closest to maybe playable. I like the Rat here. Treasure Token to hop us up the curve early. Castle Guard is a lot better when you have a little bit of sack stuff in the deck. We've got a little bit with Gaius and Midgar. Monk's Fist versus the Cats. Monk's Fist is another artifact for Delivery Moogle if we draw this really late in the game. After we've already drawn the Lance, the Rod, and the Infantry, it gives us a little bit more redundancy, which is nice. But the Cat can stun some blockers, keep them out of the way. I'm running 4 removal spells. It's a little low. But then Gaius also working that way to an extent. Actually, the side quest as well is like a 5th. Yeah, I'll actually cut the Tapper. play the Fist, cut the Poison the Waters. This is pretty much exclusively the look at your opponent's hand, make them discard an artifact or creature. The problem with this kind of card, even in sealed, is that it's solid in your opening hand. You're going to get rid of their scariest card in their hand. Fingers crossed, you get their bomb. But if you draw it later in the game, it's really bad. So if the game goes long and you're in a top deck board and you top deck this, it does pretty much nothing, and you're just down a card. So I don't think I want to run it for that reason. Now, one thing that we can consider here is that between the Dire Rats, the side quest, and the Trader, I have some random treasure production, which does make a splash a tiny bit easier. But again, I think the only thing I might splash would be Zidane. I could do that off of one Rabanastra and treasure tokens, not have to play the Blitzballs. Just don't even think it's that great of a splash, though. Preferably want to find a way to fit the Blitzballs in. I mean, I've got a chunk of legends for the Blitzballs, too, right? 2 Zac, a Rufus, Gaius, and Graha, and Ultima. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This would be the 7th with Zidane. The Blitzball towards Zidane build, actually, is probably better than our most filler creatures. We slow the deck down a little bit, but add a good chunk of power. Consistency with ramp towards the crystals chosen, too. Our creature count is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. It's probably just cut like 3 creatures, especially because Crystal's Chosen is also a creature here. So that Monk's Fist, that was pretty filler. Maybe the Trader. This is 1 treasure producer out of the deck, but we added 2 Blitzballs, and we have Rabanastra as well. This is also another way to sacrifice our opponent's creature after stealing it with Zidane. So there's that too. That makes it kind of a bummer to cut it. But I don't see where else we have room to cut something unless I'm cutting another 2-drop, but I don't think I am. Maybe I only need 1 Blitzball? Is there anything else in red? Maybe there were some amount of removal spells we could splash in somewhere. There was Choco Comet, but double red is difficult. Blue. For a single blue, we can get Stuck in Summoner Sanctums in here. In red, for a single red, we can get Light of Judgment in here. And in green, a single green, we can get Chocobo Kick in here. No duels towards green, because there's no green, white, or black, green. There is one towards blue. It's a blue-white dual land towards playing Stuck in Summoner Sanctum. The problem with this card, though, is it doesn't kill a creature for our side quest, and it doesn't deal with sagas like Shiva, because these are all triggered abilities. So if you end up having a Stuck in Summoner Sanctum, a summon, it still gets to use all its abilities and end up like drawing some cards off the 3rd chapter, so it's a really bad deal. For like if I'm splashing in a removal spell, I'd probably rather have Light of Judgment. Also, this is really bad if we play like a Gaius, because then they can just sacrifice whatever we enchanted. There's that too. I don't think it'd be crazy to splash in Light of Judgment if I'm already splashing red for Zidane, so I will consider that too. Yeah, so I think the main thing is like, are these 4 cards enough better to make the mana base less consistent and cut these 4? I'd like all these cards that I'm cutting here. I think they're all fine, very serviceable cards across the curve. I think I'm perfectly happy to just run the 2-color build. I just don't think we're getting a huge bump in power level splashing into red here. So, pure Orzhov aggro it is. We'll call it a deck here, hop into the gameplay, and see how it does. On the draw here for game 1, this is a really reasonable opener. 2 tap lands in the opening hand is rough for an aggro deck. We have to play off curve for Zac. Probably off curve for the Castle Guard too. I guess there's no 3-drop here, right? So we go tap land, Castle Guard, turn 2. Zach on 3. I mean, it's definitely a keep, but the tap lands will be an issue. Probably better to Castle Guard on 2 than Zach on 1. We really don't care if our opponent has like a Thunder Magic or Vane's Treachery to kill a Castle Guard, but killing a Zach will be relevant. Stop it from saving something later. Alright, Mulligans. They're on the play. They start with Mountain. Now we have a Dire Rat. Be happier to start with that than the Castle Guard. That is gonna still be the line here. Tap land first. Boros. Definitely play somebody that triggers when they die this turn instead of the Fist or the Zac. Treasure Token would go pretty hard. We'll start with Dire Rat. They do have some kind of instant where they are holding with Arena. There's Zell, which is a very powerful card, so we need to make sure that we're threatening trades on blocks. Double block with the Castle Guard and the Dire Rat. They respond with a removal spell, and I'm not even down that far. I still get a treasure token and a 1/1 for later. That feels like the best route. Anti-Zell here and anti-removal. And get the tap line out of the way. Yep, both of these having solid death triggers means we just flunge the block here if they send in. Soak up their mana, get rid of a removal spell or combat trick is fine. It's double land from Zell. Card goes hard. They have to keep returning one of their end steps, so they're never like permanently up a land, but it triggers landfall like crazy. And they always have like one more mana during their turn than they should for a second before they pick up that land in the end step. Oof. That's brutal. Yeah, the Chocobo token alongside Zell is obviously quite a lot of damage. We have yet to draw a single removal spell still for the Zell. Okay. If we cast Namazu Trader, we have a single blocker big enough to trade with Zell, which forces removal on the Trader. If they go land removal spell Trader, I still have the Castle Guard to block the Chocobo, and I just take 5 or 6 from Zell, which isn't lovely, but it feels like the best we have. I don't think I'm playing Delivery Moogle here. Although Delivery Moogle getting killed, I guess, is slightly less bad than Trader getting killed. They only have 3 cards in their hand, one of which is a land. I could Moogle for our 1-mana 2/1 and cast it off the treasure. That way, even if Moogle gets killed by removal, I could double block Zell. Doesn't feel worth it though, because I lose the 1/1 before I've activated it to tutor for another one. As well. I guess if that is the potential line, we can play Trader and Zac. And then even if Trader dies, I can block Zell with Zac and Castle Guard. I could also block with Monk's Fist and Castle Guard, but then I lose all the treasures for later. Let's go Zac here. This is actually very interesting because now I can sack a Zac to counter a removal spell on Trader, or double block Zell with Zac and Castle Guard as well. So probably just going to double trigger send in the Chocobo, and then Castle Guard for Chocobo is a good trade. You know, Trader plus Zac is very good here. Foresight gets around Zac, which is where Zac having some power is very relevant. That's a pretty huge bummer. Very good for our opponent here. They might not know that Auracite gets around Zac then. If I keep this treasure, I can do 6 mana next turn, so play Moogle and Monk's Fist, but I'm probably just going to play Moogle in the 1/1. Worst case scenario. Yeah, I think I keep the +1/+1 counter then. In response. Yes, they just pass through since we have the indestructible creature now for the turn. Yeah, I still have the 2 mana 2/1 flyer with the equipment that I can move around in the deck, so it's a little hard to justify just hitting the 1 mana 1/1. The biggest reason would be that I can cast in the same turn as this Moogle, but if they don't double removal spell, I can still trade Moogle into Zell if they kill the trader. So I have time to get the better card. I mean, honestly, they're both good. This is 2/2/1s, and this is a 2/1 flyer plus an equipment to move around. Go for the flyers so that I can start getting swings into my own. Double land. 1 card in their hand. Pass through. They're at 20 life here. We can kill them in 3 flying swings if I hit for about 7 apiece. That's a draw. If they had another threat, they would have played it here. So just killing Zell and just jamming 7 a turn is a very reasonable line. We go for it. Well, that's really lucky for our opponent, but Zell doesn't have haste, right? No. So we're still jamming to turn the corner, get a 3-turn kill as the plan. The top deck removal, it's bad for us, but we know exactly what's in their hands, so it has to be a top deck. They hit for 6 off top deck removal. Well, unless I chump block. It is not top deck removal. At least not on the aggressive. One mana for making this really safe. 14 life, 2 blockers up. It's still worth it for sure. Two-turn kill's a 2-turn kill. Could sack Castle Guard to Surveil and still have 2 chumpers. But I think it is important to be threatening to actually trade into one of these. Tap the whole board, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So unless I attacked with literally nobody, I die that turn. Yeah, I don't think there's any world you can justify not swinging with at least 1 flyer. What an incredible draw. Yeah, I mean, I think that's as tight as we could have played it there. Forced them into top decking on that last turn. They just happened to do it. And if I play full defense here and I'm just not attacking them ever, then I could technically survive here with a couple life. Just chump with a 1/1 and still have a stunned creature. They would be at much higher life. Yeah, maybe there's something little I missed at some point, but I don't think there was ever a shot to play around this Aerith Rescue mission. I don't think you can justify not swinging. Yeah. Sometimes they draw it. That's magic, baby. 0-1 heading into game 2. Game 2 on the draw here. Infantry into Castle Guard to activate infantry on 3 is the plan. If we don't hit a land, that obviously is rough for the infantry, but we're on the draw, so it should be pretty reasonable to expect that we do. And we did hit the land here. Mono black from our opponent so far. No artifacts to play pre-combat for infantry, so poke 1. Here's Castle Guard. And then activate infantry, but I'm also holding up Fatal Push if something strange and super scary shows up. Reinforcements is annoying, but not super scary. And there's the Gaius for it. Gaius is very good with infantry. Good with Castle Guard, too. I guess it's better to sack Castle Guard than infantry at that point. Their mill 3 hit a forest and a white card, so 3 colors at least from our opponent. Bold mana base. That they could have a bunch of green fixing and stuff to help it out. I am incredibly happy to see them attack here, because I would love to crack back. That said, this could just mean they play a really sturdy creature, like another 2-3. 3-2 is fine. I can attack into a 3-2 all day long. Ultima's a good draw here for when we hit that 5th land. And it's not really bomb rare or even rare level, it's like a decent uncommon in terms of power level. But just a decent flying threat is pressure here. And that's where we want to be while our opponent's stuck on mana. No artifacts in the hand. We actually sack the 1-1 instead of the Castle Guard then. Chromatic Lantern. Well, they'll never be stuck on a specific color again. They have whatever color they need. Here's Ultima. Yeah, that's just the play. Down to 13. Ultima is useless at shutting off mana against Chromatic Lantern, but we can still use it to double up our own mana for Crystals Chosen. We've got a 4-1 on the ground now. Still happy to send the whole team in. Our most important threat is the flyer. That will remain. If we hit a land, yeah, I was going to say if we hit a land, I'm just going to send all, ramp to Crystals Chosen, and then cast it. If we didn't hit a land, though, probably would Fatal Push, so we get to keep one of these on the ground. But since we hit the land, I know I can cast a Crystals Chosen this turn, if Ultima doesn't die on the attack. They're down to 7. Now they're only out as a board wipe. That's game 1-1, heading into game 3. Game 3. Again, tap land is sad for Zach, but the rest of the hand's real strong. Yeah, definite keep. Red deck, turn 1 Freya, so they've got a flyer attacking in immediately. Good mana efficient here. Get Monk's Fist down. Perfectly happy to trade that into Freya and stop their equipment ramp if they choose to hold that up as a blocker, but they don't. Whenever Rufus Shinra attacks, so it doesn't need to be on the board for my attack. Four toughness is pretty good against red removal, but they could have the Treachery. They'd have to sack Freya to kill it with that, though. Yep, Thunder Magic sure can't kill Rufus for a long time, so they go ahead and just pop our token. Cornered by Black Mages, that's obnoxious. The double removal in the opener, a 2-mana and 3-mana removal spell, is great. In sealed. Very consistent field pool. You're pulling out removal at that rate. Here's the Trader. I think with our side quest in hand, we don't want to crack this for Zach. Reno and Rude. There's a Fatal Push. Cast this side quest, get a treasure token back in the end step. Our Trader can't block anything by itself, so it's probably worth attacking. Unless I'm planning on playing another creature, playing a Zach or a Graha. Definitely don't want to cast Graha here. I don't want to spend the treasure and not get it back. Zach and Fatal Push Reno and Rude, or just cast the side quest, seem like the good options here. I think we're killing Reno and Rude either way, either with Fatal Push or the side quest. So we jam regardless. Surveil 2 at the cost of a Monk's Fist. +1/+0 is not super relevant super often. Are there any draws that are just incredible right now? Land 5's pretty good, then I can play Zach and Fatal Push and wait for land 5. Might not be worth a Monk's Fist though, because again I can just play the side quest already. Yeah, I'm not going to Surveil, I'll keep the Monk's Fist. 3 damage it is. Fatal Push, very good with treasure tokens. If I'm desperate, I crack 1 and I can blow up anything that costs 4 or less. So I know I can trigger that whenever I need to. I can also trigger it off of the Trader by sacrificing Monk's Fist, because I do really want to get to 3 treasure tokens to flip out my 5/6 Indestructible. So if there's an opportunity I really want to blow something up with 4 mana value, I would rather sack Monk's Fist than a treasure to do it. But they're just holding up a bunch of removal, I guess. Tap out for Graha, they're just going to kill Graha. With like Sephiroth's Intervention or something here. If I jam Zach, they can respond by interventioning Trader before Zach's on board anyway. If I go for Zach instead, though, I get to just Fatal Push this Freya, get my treasures still going. Freya has been pretty sketchy. If anything really scary comes down, it's probably more than 4 mana. I'm gonna go Zach and push here. Get working on the side quest farther. Okay, respond with removal on Trader, fair enough. Ooh, no equipment on it right now, though. So I don't get that value. Cool. Let's get a treasure. 1 away from the side quest. Well, that's going to finish our side quest off when it sacks itself, but pretty scary for now. Draws another card immediately, draws Vaughn Street Thief. Which we just need to make sure we can block that. None of their other creatures are going to trigger it, but it can steal cards out of our deck. Grahan pass. I've got the Zach mana off of treasures. Which obviously I would prefer not to do, but in a pinch, it's relevant. Any creatures they cast have haste this turn, which is obviously pretty threatening. Dire Rat's a nice one, because now I don't even need to kill one of their creatures to try to flip my side quest. I can just chomp with the Dire Rat. Yeah, I guess this only triggers during our turn, actually. And this is going to get sacked during their turn, so it doesn't actually help our side quest. I was thinking about that wrong. Oh, God. 2 black mages is threatening, so they can get damage without declaring attacks. Oh, this is a Nombo with job select equipment because the creature tokens don't get haste. It's only creature spells that get cast. How does this work? Yeah, it doesn't do anything till it hits us. Scouts, pirates, and rogues. So only Vaughn. This is a wizard. Saga Knight, wizard. So they have to pass through. Now I've got all the mana to use Zach without having to do the thing. I think I have to wait. I think I need to suit up the Dire Rat and then attack with that next turn. I don't think I can send just yet. Not against Vaughn, drawing cards out of our deck if I don't hold up defensively enough. Kind of preemptively moving the equipment here so that if I draw anything expensive, I can cast that and still have Dire Rat ready to get swinging. But it might be wrong, because 2 power is pretty relevant right now against Vaughn. Pass from our opponents. Okay, draw land anyway. Send in the rats. We flip our side quest if they chump or trade. So they do neither, they take the 3, and I do have the mana to just start moving back and forth every turn. Top deck war. Who can draw the best? We're only 1 treasure from getting a 5/6 indestructible out, so I feel favored by a little bit here. But they have more cards in hand. Initially. Poop draws poop. Three attackers only have 2 blockers up. That is so awkward, these draws. I think I still have to jam. Because my other 2 blocks are really good. I guess play a 1 of removal spell, force me to sack the Zach, and then I've got 1 blocker against 3 attackers at 13. 2, 4, 5, 6 power over there. We take 4 and a Black Mage's Rod ping. 5, go to 8. That's, I think. If this were a basic land, an untapped land, I would just hold it in hand. But we have some card draw spells in our deck that might be expensive enough, spending, 3, sack an artifact, draw 2. The Midgar, if we played that and then drew like a 5-drop, I want to be able to do that. If I drew like a 5-drop and a basic, something like that, I couldn't play both basics in 1 turn. If if I held on to the other one. That's a thing to consider. This queen is a nightmare. I can't let them get attacks going, because then they get black mages now. For extra pings. God, these draws. Yeah, no, we have to pass now that that queen's on the board. There's not much of a choice. And as I was saying before, there is an argument for playing this land out. In case I hit a card draw spell that draws 2, and then I don't have the mana to cast whatever I draw into, because I can't play this land and the land I drew and the spell. But at this point, the only card I could hit that would be too expensive for that would be my 7 mana play. There's only 1 in the whole deck, everything else is 5 or less. What are you gonna do? Pass? Okay, not quite there yet. Creature or artifact. They're at 9. 3 damage if they let the rat hit them. 2 treasure tokens. They're at 6. Take 2, they're at 4. Zach can sack himself. They're at 3. I have to push off of that draw. It's life gain as well as life loss to our opponent, so it also makes us safer on the defensive with all the treasure tokens. Will be disappointing to have to crack them to salvagers instead of getting the dragon, but you gotta do what you gotta do. This is a very hard decision for our opponent. They go pretty low if they let this in. Sephiroth's Intervention, a way better draw than anything we've hit so far. I think I have to Zack that. Yeah, ping 2, gain 2. They're gonna try to triple prowess here. That'd be nasty. With the queen, yeah. If they, I mean, if they had 3 spells, then we couldn't really do anything here. Drain, draw a card. Magitech Infantry's a wonderful draw. So they do still gain the life there, even though they didn't kill our creature. They're going to take the damage. They do not want us getting another treasure. Here's an infantry. Now I have to hold the mana up for that instead of moving the fist back around, which is fine. We just need 2 power on a bunch of different stuff. Okay. They scoop them up. Albed's Salvagers is too much for them. That life drain getting us the victory, and we are 2-1. No matter what happens from here, at least a 50-50 record this time around. If Arena wants us to lose, we ought to lose with this hand. Right, we don't draw a swamp and we're out of the game. I've already got 1 black source. and multiple white sources, so we can cast almost any draw in the deck. We only need to hit one land to get to Aura Sight, but we're on the draw with nothing till turn 4 if I don't hit a swamp. This is so borderline. I'm not going to start down a card. I will keep this. Excellent first draw. Infantry gives us a turn 1 and turn 3 play regardless of our future draws. There's Gubu Gardener for ramp from our opponent, and there is the second black source, so everything's going to be castable here. Natural Sultai from our opponent, all 3 colors, turn 3, off of basic lands. The Regalia, I have to Aura Sight that, because this doesn't kill artifact. Yeah, this is super bad for me. They're on the play, they've got a nice, easy, aggressive swing with it coming up. Just play any creature, but we can at least force them to have a creature here. And then we'll Aura Sight it next turn. So they do get the 2-for-1 off of it. Hit for 4, put a land into play, and make me discard a removal spell. If they don't have a castable creature here, that is incredible for us, but I doubt that's the case. Summoner's Grimoire? Yeah, it's a 1/1. What a 1/1 works. And that's terrifying, because now if I don't kill the Grimoire, they get to play their biggest creature from their entire hand. And if it's a summon, it comes out tapped and attacking too. So I guess we're in the position here where we actually have to kill this token. Try to run them out of creatures to crew the Regalia, and then have it just stranded here because they ran out of creatures. We've got 2 more removal spells after the Aura Sight, so that is the plan. We'll try it here. There is an argument for casting Fate of the Suncrest there, because it can only kill tapped creatures for 3, whereas the Aura Sight can kill anything for 4, but the Fate can kill anything for 5, so I can blow up an uncrewed Regalia for 5 if need be, and I did just get another mana here for doing that. Let's go. We might have stranded them out of creatures. That makes me pretty happy. I've got 6 mana, so I can play the Salvagers and still have the Fate on a tapped creature up. And then obviously if we don't need to do it, then we get to activate the infantry instead, which makes it great at instant speed. Sure. Sapphire's Intervention, the Salvagers. Fair enough. World Map, just another mana. They can get any land out of their deck, though, so if they have the one that cycles for 2 in their sealed pool, that's a great combo. They do not, though. They just grab a blue-black duel. Here. They pass through. We'll get another infantry. Mana. Now I can play a 4-drop and still have the Fate up. So play a Trader. Because Gaius is pretty awful on an empty board from our opponent. Not awful, but much less exciting. This might be overly safe playing it this way. We might have wanted to just play Gaius for extra damage, I guess. Nope. We're happy to have done it this way. Just tap and stun the Trader, sure. Stunned for 2 turns, so I can just Gaius, have us each sack a non-token creature. sack the trader. They're playing the defensive here, so even if they lose Omega, they can crew the Regalia and still have a 4/4 blocker up, so I don't get to damage them this turn. Tragic. Alright, Gaius making them sack either Omega or Regalia is good here. And I guess because I don't get attacks in regardless, I probably sack the infantry and keep the stunned trader for later. Non-token creature of which... So I just really need to not misclick here. Obviously. If they choose to sack the Regalia, then they have no blocks this turn, and I might sack the trader. I guess we can meet in the middle and sack Gaius, but this can attack next turn. Namazu Trader can't attack for a couple. Let's sack the Trader, because they might be sacking Regalia here. Perfect. And the really awesome part about this, I can also get rid of Omega. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lethal off of Paladin's Arms. The Black Mage ping. Not lethal through a town greeter, especially if they hit a town and gain some life. They did not hit a town though, just a forest. Rat is the draw. Or to equip. Can't play this and equip and play the rat. And just let them do the trade then. Trade and go to 2, and then we play a rat. If we equip, they can't trade anymore. They have to just chump, but that's if they have nothing in their hand. Yeah, if they have this in their hand, I think the way that we played it is better. Because they could still have taken the trade if they had intervention in their hand. This way I got more power on the board in the long run. Still dealt the exact same amount of damage. Bard's Bow. Just a 3/3, they're at 7. No cards in their hand to play around. Let's see what we get off the top. Black Mage is wrong, that's solid here. Make multiple 3-power attackers. Oh, that's 6 as well. Oh, that's perfect, actually. Multiple 3-power attackers. They can't afford to not trade into a 3-power creature. If they choose to kill the 2/1, they take 6 and die. So we can put them to 1 against multiple Black Mages. A Black Mage and then the Rod we can put on anybody else for lethal. Final draw step for our opponent is a Titan, which is pretty good, but not enough to block all of these creatures. Their deck was definitely better than ours. There's that Primal Odin they just milled as well. Pretty happy we drew considerably better than our opponent this game, and that's going to get us the victory. That is 3-1 now, which means that we are getting some of our gems back no matter what happens from here, and it is yet another positive win rate run. One of the best hands on the play we've had so far here. Perfect mana for anything we draw into. All we need is to draw non-lands and we're in a great spot. Be pretty much any kind of spells and I'll be happy. Black deck from our opponent. Zack into the Castle Guard for the curve out here. They do not have a 3-mana creature, so no cornered by Black Mages. Awkward, we just drew a removal spell and a land, so we don't get to play anything on 3 now. White mage's staff. Alright, we can corner that by black mages. I shouldn't have said I'd be happy with any draws, because the legend rule goes hard. Well, they're down to 13. We can keep the pressure on. We've got removal for whatever they play next turn as well. That's 2 creatures off 1 card. We don't have removal for that. Kill the armor itself, but not the armor and the 1/1. Monk's Fist is the draw. I think I have to keep the pressure on and get the 4/4 here. We attack first to get the 1/1 tapped to get the damage through. They're down to 9. Down to 8 after I cast Monk's Fist. Then I'm going to have to hit them for that. Sephiroth's intervention on Zac, the life gain is the worst part of that for us. And they play a tap land. The Delivery Moogle is a good draw. Play Zac and a Delivery Moogle here. Yeah, because I think I'm getting the flying spell off Delivery Moogle rather than the 1/1. Getting a couple 2/1s against black-white, and they should have pretty easy blocks in the future. Alright, you got it. Downgrade my creature. Here's Delivery Moogle. Honestly, Black Mage's Rod wouldn't be insane, but Dragoon's Lance is good. Can double spell these and hold Zac up. Never mind. If they double Hack Dice, I'm gonna lose my mind. Moogle's pretty decent there. Tap land. Ah. Exactly 1 mana from greatness. Tragedy strikes. Worst possible time to hit the tap land, because I need exactly that 4 there. But this Dragoon's Lance is about to be real scary for our opponent for the rest of this game. It's like a 1/1 here, I think. Yeah, White Mage's Staff is annoying. I trade Zac into this. Force a re-equip for life gain from our opponent. And get more damage in the sky next turn. It's not super good on this board. It's good to have, unless they play another Heck Dies. Malboro, I guess, would work as well. Just equip and gain 1 here. Yeah, that's not good. They gain 1 every turn, I hit for 1 every turn. We're not going to get there until we draw another threat. There's another threat. 1 white mana instant, they got the +2/+2 trick. Oh, they could have the Hexproof trick. Hexproof trick would be deadly. Either of the Hexproof trick or the +2/+2. You get Notepad out. They held the white up too, come on. If I try to Aura Sight that, they're just going to Hexproof trick it. There's like a 50-50 that that's the case here. They're losing a life every turn now. They have no choice but to do that. I don't think it'd be insane to just equip Lance here. I'm 1 mana off from playing Auracite and equipping Lance. That would be great. I could alternatively just play Ultima and pass. And then I'm threatening lethal on board, plus especially with an Auracite. If I draw a basic next turn, I can play Auracite and use the Lance. I mean, it's definitely Lance or Ultima over Auracite, even if they don't have the hexproof trick, I think. Yeah, Graha triggers off of our other stuff dying, so giving them a threat they really need to kill other than Graha seems quite decent. No for another blocker. We hit another tap land. I do have the mana to cast Auracite and sack a card, draw 2 to trigger our Black Mage twice in 1 turn. If they have the hexproof trick, it does give hexproof and gains 3 to keep them from dead here. Auracite's going to resolve even if they have the hexproof trick. I think it's Auracite ping, Midgar ping. And I can still play land for turn. This plays better if they're just trying to like Sephiroth's Intervention one of our creatures. Let them keep the anima because they lose another life for it. I think. But this is just going to be the hexproof trick, probably. But that would tap them out of the removal for Ultima, if it's not Vane's Treachery for just like 2 mana. They allow that. They allow this Ultima hit, they're dead, so this must be removal on Ultima now. Fortunately, Midgar is a sorcery. If Ultima doesn't die, they're dead. So I don't think there's a point in making one of our own lands tap for colorless, because Ultima's just going to die here. So we just make one of their lands colorless. Not that it really matters which one. Everybody's got all the colors they need. Fade the Suncrist, fair. Okay. Draw a card. Gaius. May sack an artifact or creature to draw 2. I don't really want to sack a wizard right now. Is that insane? I can still cast it so I can play my land for turn. Just to ping them for 1. Definitely not sacking the lance. Yeah, I think I'm just not... I'm casting it and then not sacking anything. Playing Midgar and passing. They're down to 3 now. Yeah, Anima will make me sack a creature soon, so... having the 0-1 to sack to Anima as well could be relevant. But the pings are definitely relevant too. They're at 3 or maybe 4 life if they move the staff over and swing. Move the staff, swing it is. Take it, they go to 4. That's the more important part. It's their life total here. I've got the mana to cast Gaius and equip an not an Auracite, a Dragoon's Lance to somebody next turn. Paladin's Arms, 2 mana left. It's a battle at the bridge for us. So Gaius doesn't kill anything relevant to their blocks. Gaius can kill Anima. So we just see if we are swinging for potential lethal first, and then see how we want to use Gaius if we aren't. Should not be tapping this much white. I don't think it's that relevant, but you know. Do like that. I should actually hold up another black. Maybe I should be, because then I can triple black if I draw land off of them killing something with Graha. Although if they're killing something, they're just killing Graha. Should we not removal? Except please don't. Could be the hexproof trick, gain 3. Awesome. Okay, they had the hexproof trick the whole time. They're just going to use it to barely survive here. Sure. Then they lose Anima next turn automatically. Down to 3. Gaius, each player sacks an enchantment, makes it so we don't have to sack a creature and we don't lose any life. Honestly does feel worth it. With no enchantments on this board, that feels better than us both sacking our wizards. Because then this gets sacked and I have to sack a thing. Yeah, we go each player sacks an enchantment. There's the concession from our opponent. That is 4 and 1, getting just about all of our gems back out of this run, no matter where things go from here. Pretty mid-sealed pool, so that feels super fine with me. See how far we can take it from there. Well, that's a forced mulligan if I've ever seen one. It's not significantly better, honestly. I mean, it's better, for sure, it's keepable. But it's pretty mid-hand. I think I'm actually keeping Graha over Ultima. Towards trying to draw some cards, get back in the game, card advantage-wise. Ultima and Graha are pretty comparable in power level, they're both just fine. I think I keep this. Midgar coming up. Back our treasure, draw 2 seems reasonable. If we flood out. If we don't flood out, I'll have to just play this as a tap land, most likely. That's the only way I know I can play Gaius next turn, so I think I have to Midgar for the tap land. Black-white mirror match again. Paladin's Arms, not a great blocker right now. Triple black. God, I wish I had double white for this infantry. Be a beautiful turn. It's still gonna be better than playing Gaius here. Treasure tokens cash money here. I think we just drop Graha then. Play Gaius and infantry in the same turn off of any land draw. Weapons vendor. Go to job select equipment. all of the trades are good for us. So we just swing. Once we've activated an infantry, our Gaius is going to be incredible. They're down to 11. Black Mage's Rod threatens some good pings. Here's infantry number 1. 5 mana from our opponent. 5 mana removal on Grawha it is. They're down to 11. They're going to take a big hit here. Don't quite have the mana for the really good Gaius that I want to do, which is with the infantry token. Well, not token, but you know, the second infantry. It might be worth, with a Black Mage's Rod active on the board, just sacking Gaius himself here for all the creatures that can already attack. Yeah. Put them to 5 with Black Mage's Rod on board in a wide board state. Cornered by Black Mages. Well, there goes the 1-1 with the worst abilities. Black Mage's Rod. Either order does the same thing for our opponent, basically. They flip their side quests and we're going to lose. I'm really praying they don't. They're already in a position where they kind of have to block everybody, so I'm just going to activate infantry and play a Castle Guard. Don't think we can justify equipping a fist instead of playing Castle Guard here, or activating infantry. Okay. They've got another removal spell. It's really bad for us. Kill a 2/1, flip a 5/6 blocker up. But we've still got our exile removal and our sack removal in the deck. What on earth? Are you serious? I guess, I mean, they had to sack treasures for it, so they don't get the other 5/6, but 1/5/5 indestructible. That's going to be a 7/7 indestructible is already really bad. Oh, it's rounded down? Okay, we might not lose. Holy shoot. Wow, that card's really bad. It's rounded down too. Okay. Ward 1? Alright, well, they're just dead. Excellent top deck means they were dead no matter what, but if it were rounded up, and then I didn't top deck that, we might have just like lost out of nowhere from that. That was terrifying. But the best top deck in the whole deck, and we are 5-1, which means we're in the money now. Straight up, we are leaving this event with more gems than we spent to enter. Way better than I thought was possible. I mean, this whole time I've just been playing it out, trying to get as many gems back as possible towards future runs, and now we're technically only 2 wins away from the Collector Booster Box, so this has fully gone the distance towards actually competing for the box, even if it loses next game. This was close here at least 5 wins. Excellent, excellent record with this just nice, streamlined Orzhov Beats deck. Yeah, 5-1 heading into Game 7. All right. On the draw, nothing till turn 3. These are bummers for sure. There's a lot of power and synergy in this hand coming up. Shinra into Gaius into Grawha as a curve. Another removal spell. Don't think I can afford to mulligan this. I don't think, because I have a 3-4-5 curve, that I can afford to not just play the tap land turn 1. Monk's Fist turn 2 from our opponent, so they will get some solid damage in, some solid advantage from being on the play. Kept a mono white hand here, but it's got the cat turn 3, which is very threatening. Here's Rufus Shinra. Double cat. If they've got another artifact, that's bad. That's certainly bad. No combat tricks here. They have exactly 4 power on board. So if I attack with Rufus, I kill the 2-1, get a 2-2. The cats remain. Gaius is actually not that good here either. We're just killing 1 cat. I guess no, Gaius is fine. I can go Gaius, make them sack the token instead. These cats are horrific still, but then I can attack with Shinra and get the dog. And then I've got a 3-5 reach to try to block these, and if that doesn't work out, I have removal for one of them. I mean, I have to just do that, I imagine. Each player sacrifices a creature token of their choice, yes. So now I can get a nice wide board. They play another artifact, we are dead. Oh, talk about an incredible artifact to have there. The Aura Sight. Should hit Gaius. No, hit Gaius. You know you want to hit Gaius, right? Oh, okay. I don't think that I can Fate of the Suncrest anything but the flyer here. Like, this can blow up the Aura Sight, which is very cute, but that's not going to kill a flyer if I do that. So I'm either blowing up a flyer immediately or playing a reach creature here. Oh, hold up. If I blow up the Aura Sight, then the flyers are 1/3s again. They have to have a 3rd artifact in their hand. Oh, this is kind of risky. But I could see a world where we actually do blow up the artifact here, especially if they block. If they don't block, then there's a pretty big question here. If they don't have a 3rd artifact in their hand, it's pretty dang good to blow up the Aura Sight. If they do, it's pretty bad. I guess I just delay that decision then and play Graha. The issue with this is if they have a follow-up removal spell, if they had double removal in the opener, they kill us, we go to 5, and we are in pain. But now we get to see if this turn is them playing another job select equipment or something, to where the cats are still active. Gross, dude. Efficient hand here. Wow, and it gives them the double green too. No other artifact, though. No other artifacts. But at this point, I just don't even have time to not kill a flyer. A little bit of flood. What an opener. The double cats. If I kill a flyer, I take 3 and go to 1. If I kill an Aura Sight, I take 2 and go to 2. Either way, I'm not winning this game. Their opening hand was just way too strong with double cat this early. Yeah, this card is just unreasonable. I guess our best bet was actually blowing up the Aura Sight last turn, maybe? I mean, we had to blow up something last turn since they did have double removal in the opener like that. But that was gross. Oh wait, they have a Monk's Fist on this cat. So I take 3 whether or not I kill a cat or an Orosite. Either way, I take 3 and go to 1 life and have no shot from there. Yeah, frustrating, but it is what it is. I guess the best bet is top deck another removal spell. This opens us up to that. If I kill the Orosite and then I top deck a removal spell, I still die next turn. T-Rex R2. Alright, good hand's good, and that's going to crush us, knock us out of the event. Disappointing ending here, but just quite an extremely solid hand from our opponent. We could have certainly played it out differently. If we played more defensively and blew up one of these cats earlier, I would have like 6 more life at this point, be it 7. But I'm still facing a T-Rexar with very low toughness at that point. It looks like if we blew up the Orosite instead of playing the 3/5, it might have actually worked out. Although I'd still be taking 2 chip damage every turn in the sky there, which is difficult. And this is a 2/4 that spits out a 2/2. Our deck just lines up so poorly against Galacat, it's ridiculous. Shinra doesn't even do anything against 2 Galacats. Because even if they're 1/3s, we don't attack through them. Our 2/4 bounces off, our 2/2 bounces off. And then they just keep hitting us while I can't ever hit them. Yeah, this is just a horrible matchup for our deck, I guess. Yeah, even the blow up the Orosite play if they had no artifacts just doesn't really accomplish much. So we had to just blow up one of the cats, be it maybe like 7 life right now, and then, again, low toughness over here, die to the T-Rex anyway. Yeah. Really good draws from our opponent. I mean, all of their filler garbage just got milled. The instant ramen and the Pandora. And they're good stuff. The cats and the Orosite to go with it. And then the T-Rex to top off the curve was all that they cast on us. All right. Well, really good record for this sealed pool, I think. Bummer of an ending, but a really bad matchup for us. That's going to do it. Still in the money, still getting more gems than we paid to enter, and we can put all those towards another run for free here. So, nice stuff. One last look at the deck. Again, this sealed pool was nothing special. The rares that we're running are 1 Ultima. That's it. That is how not special this sealed pool is. We had like a Choco, a Wandering Minstrel, Balthier and Fran with no vehicles for them. Just a rough pool overall. I do think that this was by far the most synergistic deck we could have ended up with, and it played out pretty well for it. Getting some nice aggressive curve outs was the best we could hope for. And it did well. 5 wins is really good, I think, for the quality of our sealed pool here. I guess we're playing Midgar as well. That's technically 2 rares, but neither of these play like a rare. They play like a mid uncommon for the most part. So really scrapping this run and being relatively successful while doing it. Winning more than twice as many games as we lost, leaving the event with quite a few gems. We take those. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and are interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in the recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.